Hello. I think we've gone live now. So, Jessica,
Yes,
you
ma'am.
there?
We are live now.
Absolutely. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
the entire team.
you'll receive your link now.
All right. So, very good morning, afternoon, and evening to one and all our friends, colleagues joining in from across the world. And Drive to Thrive is really happy that this is our second venture, second initiative of trying to reach out to hearts and souls across the world on subjects that matter and are close to our hearts. We are all struggling with change today, and we have different set of problems that we're dealing with, right? So Drive to Thrive is really not just a platform, not just an attempt to bring conferences and discussions to you, but we're on a mission trying to spread awareness and bringing the intellect, spirit, and the heart together of the best, available in various streams and areas that would create value for you and help you become champions of change yourself. So that's the strength that we would want to, develop for each one of you out there. And this particular event is a very, very special one because we have our friends Jessica Lukart, Alexandra, James, and Dr. Saska joining in today on a subject which is very, very powerful. The power of humanology. What can be better than that, really? And I love the way they say that, what makes a hero a superhero? When you know your strengths and you understand how to capture and tap into that potential, you only become stronger and better as a human being. So, whatever comes your way, you'll have your way to deal with it and fight back and emerge victorious. So the power of humanology is one of the most dearest subjects to me because I honestly feel that each one of you is unique and gifted in several ways. So here's your chance to tap into your superhero powers with the help of our experts on panel today. And we'll have a very interesting interactive discussion going on here. So I hope all of you make the most of it and feel free to take up your questions as and when we proceed. I'll hand over the stage now to Dr. Jessica, the director of Humanology. I think you're the expert. You can talk about it
Thank you.
better than me. Please let them know and understand the subject. I know it's fairly new. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shika. Thank you very much, everyone who's connecting with us today. Actually, I should not be making this part of the presentation, but well, life is really funny. And our conductor, Dr. Saskia Harkema, just contacted us telling us that she had a minor car accident. So she is stopped by the police in Holland, where she lives, and she is trying to fix everything as quickly as she can to join us and continue conducting the session. But because this just happened this last minute, I'm going to start the session without her, and she will join us whenever she can. So the session we plan to offer you today is divided into two subsections. The first one is the introduction of humanology. What is humanology? What is it good for? What does it do? How can we use it? And the second part is an open discussion, a panel discussion, where we're going to be answering questions and we're going to give you all the chance to ask us your questions and our opinions. So without wanting to take any more time from you, I'm going to take Saskia's role and I'm going to introduce myself, if you don't mind. So I am Jessica Lockhart. I am the creator and head or thinker behind Humanology. I'm a linguist by trade. I'm a trained coach, a teacher, a mentor, an international speaker, and an author, having published half a dozen books in several languages. I developed Humanology and many of its methodologies and tools because, as I will be explaining in my presentation, after becoming a life coach and an expert, as I said, in quite a few fields, I realized there was something missing. And that missing link was what led me to creating Humanology. I am a doctor honoris causa in humanities by the World Humanistic University in Florida, the United States. I'm a fellow at the ACCPH in the United Kingdom, and I'm also accredited by the European Academy of Neurosciences, Economy and Humanities, and I have received, fortunately, quite a few international recognitions. And without wanting to delve too much into my accreditations and my distinctions, let's just move on and start with the presentation. The first presentation will be focused on introducing the concepts of humanology, for which I'm going to be sharing a set of slides with you. So humanology, I called it the science of human beings. Why do we call it like that? Oops, sorry, this just skipped a few of my slides. Why do we call it like that? Well, why humanology? When I was becoming a trained professional, I realized that everything I was learning, be it psychology, positive psychology, philosophy, coaching, was focused on just that one unique tool. Everything that I was learning was geared at helping human beings in that one specific field. And I realized that that was not correct. Historically speaking, all disciplines have focused on one aspect of the human being. Psychology focuses on the mind, the brain, the psyche. So sociology, for example, focuses on societies and the relationships among human beings within those societies. Anthropology, philosophy, coaching, whatever discipline you take, focuses on one aspect of the human being. And in my opinion, that could not continue being so. That's why humanology decided to focus on studying and explaining human beings as integral beings, as unique beings that have all the different elements mixed together. In humanology, we say that if we want to help human beings really take control of their lives, of their realities, of themselves, and their environment, they first need to understand who they are. And if we try to explain the human being only through the psychology, we will be missing many of the parts of the human being, won't we? If we try and explain the human being only through its social relationships, for example, we will be missing a lot of the information regarding or pertaining to the human being. So that's why we understand that in order to explain human beings, we need to use a multifaceted, multidisciplinary approach. We need to help human beings understand who they are in an integral, cohesive, holistic way. And that's how humanology was born. After working in the field of humanology for quite a few years and having developed quite a few of its methods, some of which you will be hearing about today, we ended up creating a model of the human being that is based on 4 key elements. And when this model is applied, oh my goodness, we can explain every human being in the world. And we say this because after having applied this model of the human being to thousands and thousands of people from different ethnic groups, from different cultures, from different countries, from different age groups, there were not exceptions, not even one. So I want to briefly explain what this model of the human being is like, what its 4 key components are, and then explain how this model is used in humanology to help human beings know and understand themselves. Knowing and understanding ourselves is, therefore, the key element that distinguishes humanology from all other disciplines, because as I said, it does it in a cohesive, integral way. We try to use this integral approach because, just to give you a very simple example, and here I'm going to try and invite you to participate because I want to see your comments and I want to read your questions and comments. When we use this method, we see that, for example, let's take a very simple example. A person has a thought, okay? One thought. It could be, let's say, a negative thought. A thought that says something like, Oh my God, I have an exam tomorrow and I'm not ready. Okay, that's the thought. I have an exam tomorrow and I'm not ready. Sometimes a thought can result in an emotion, right? When I think I have an exam tomorrow and I'm not ready, I might suddenly start feeling a little queasiness or a little nervousness inside. And when I become aware of that feeling, of that emotion, it becomes a feeling. I'm feeling nervous. If those nerves grow, we can even start having physical symptoms like this this slide shows. We could even get headache, or we could have stomach ache. And in this sense, we clearly see how everything in the human being is related. From a thought, we end up having physical symptoms. You all know this, I'm sure. Can you share, or can you come up with any other situations in your life in which there's been this interconnection of the different spheres of the human being, where there has been maybe a relationship between your spirituality and your physical being? Let's see if we can see the chat. And if you want to comment, if you want to tell us something about these experiences, if you have had any situation like that, where you have really had all or some of the parts of the human being connected. Is there anybody who would like to share an example of a situation in which they had maybe thoughts, emotions, feelings, intuition, fears, sensations related one to another one? Okay, let's give you a few minutes. Why you think about situations like that? I'm not 100% sure that I can see the whole chat here in the system while sharing the slides. We will check them in a few minutes, but while we do that, we're going to proceed and we're going to continue introducing the human being and the model of those 4 key elements that I mentioned before. You continue thinking, you share those experiences, please, with us, in which you felt that connection between the different parts, the different aspects of the human being, okay? And then we'll share them later. So the model of the human being includes 4 basic elements. I will just go over them very quickly because we don't have the time to delve deeper into them today. But if you're interested, we're more than happy to give you more information later on. The first element is an element that we can only find in humanology that I know of. We've researched far and wide, and we found certain cultures, certain fields where something similar might be mentioned, but nothing as deep and as complete as personal essence. Personal essence is the #1 element in the human being because it's an element the person is born with. And according to the model of the human being, personal essence is the only part of the human being that doesn't change throughout life. The only part of human being that doesn't change throughout his whole life. Personal essence is like our innermost nature. When we're born, even if we don't have any learnings, even if we don't have any experiences, even if we had nothing we could learn from, we already are uniquely us, aren't we? If you have any doubts, you can just think about identical twins, for example. You know that identical twins have these personalities that are completely different one from the other. They have these personalities even though they haven't learned anything yet. They have these personalities that their parents say, wow, they're physically like 2 drops of water, in spite of which they behave so differently. One is, I don't know, a very nervous kid, and the other one is so relaxed. One can't stop eating, and the other one hasn't got this big of an appetite. We're born, and we already have our distinct uniqueness. Well, Humanology discovered a way to help understand what is our unique individual personal essence. And why is this important? Because once we discover what our personal essence is like, we understand a lot of our behaviors and reactions that cannot be explained any other way. Personal essence has a set of characteristics So if my personal essence is, let's say, light, for example, light is something that has a set of characteristics, is something very quick, very fast, is something that illuminates, you can catch it, it's in constant movement, it's something that can be very warm, but it can also heat up and be very hot and burn. So if your personal essence happens to be light, then you're going to be a person like that. You're going to be constantly moving. You're going to need to be in this constant movement. You're going to be very fast at doing things all the time. You're going to be a very warm person that attracts a lot of people, but you can also be burning and you can blind people like light does. So far, we have discovered quite a few different personal essences. Once the person understands what their personal essence is, it's not that they start adopting those characteristics. They realize that that's what they've always been like. And we've worked with people up to almost 90 years of age, and we've made sure and we've seen and we've checked that their personal essence hasn't changed throughout their lives. So personal essence is basically the number one key element in a human being. As I said, I can't continue explaining all these elements in much more detail because we have a lot of field to cover. So I'm just going to leave it there. If you have more questions, we can try and take some questions later. On top of personal essence, okay, this is my core. This is my essence, okay? We start developing, we start growing, and we start learning from life. And by learning from life, we start developing what we call beliefs. When we talk about beliefs, we're not just referring to religious beliefs, not at all. We're talking about all kinds of beliefs. You, I have all kinds of beliefs. We have cultural beliefs. Let's see if I can invite you to speak now. If you couldn't think of any examples before, let's see if you can think of examples now that pertain to your culture, that are cultural beliefs, different from cultures in other countries. I will just give you one example, okay? When I was a little child, I was moved to Spain. I was born in the United States, but we moved to Spain when I was a child. And it was funny because when I became a teenager, most of the parents in Spain thought that teenage girls shouldn't go out, shouldn't be free in a sense. But with regards to me, they always said, oh, but she's American, so she can be freer. I was like, wait a minute. Why can I be freer because I was born in America? I grew up here. Yeah, but you're American, and American people are always freer. So that cultural belief of Spaniards completely tainted and biased the view they had of me. So I'm inviting you now to see, let's see if I can see that chat. I'm inviting you now to share your thoughts on specific cultural beliefs that you have in your own ethnic group, in your own country, in your own culture, so we can have a variety of cultural beliefs that we can comment on and that we can see some more examples of. The beliefs, as I said, are not just cultural, they're not just religious, they're, for example, professional beliefs. Let's think about any profession. Let's think about a teacher or a doctor. I know that you will agree with me when we explain that those professionals already have their own sets of beliefs when they work. For example, doctors think that they need to behave a certain way with their clients, with their patients, and that's how they behave. When a doctor welcomes you into their office, he doesn't just lean on his chair and say, hi, dude, how, what's up? No, why? Because the doctor believes there's a certain type of behavior he or she should maintain, right? So that's just one tiny example of a professional belief. Well, we have all these kinds of beliefs in every field in our lives. And those beliefs are the ones that shape our actions because they are the ones that help us decide and choose. If I believe that coffee is not healthy and that tea is healthier, I will probably have tea instead of coffee. My belief is shaping my action. And when we have a whole set of beliefs, we change them, we outgrow some of them, we acquire new beliefs. I said before that personal essence is the only part of the human being that doesn't change. Well, beliefs change all our lives, but they can be not changed as well. We can have some beliefs from our childhood that we never question and we never change, and they're still part of our belief system as we grow up. Others we change. Many of those beliefs are part of our subconscious set of beliefs. Others we're aware of. So when you work in humanology, you also try and understand what kind of beliefs you have, not only your personal essence, but your beliefs, and you question whether you want to keep them or change them. The whole set of beliefs, together with personal essence, leads into the third element of the human being, the worldview, the way in which we see the world. The way in which we all see the world is uniquely ours. Those twins I spoke about don't have the exact same experiences as they grow, right? So those different experiences lead to different beliefs that lead to different worldviews. And the worldview is our window onto the world. Let's play a little exercise. Let's see if we can see your comments as well. If I cannot see your comments, well, we will try and see your comments. I'm going to share 2 images with you right now. And I want you to look at the images and write on the chat what it is that you see on the slide that I'm sharing with you, okay? I want you to just write what it is that you see. And if you don't want to write, just open your microphones and say what it is that you see, okay? Let's play this little game. The first image is this. Whoopsie, not this one, this one. So please open your mics and tell us what you see. What do you see in this image? Come on, let's see. Who wants to share what they see?
Birds flying and mother birds trying to feed the little ones.
Yes, we see 3 birds, actually 1, 2, 3, that are approaching a nest that is on a tree. Yes, exactly. Thank you.
I also see one more picture though.
You also see one more picture. Great. What picture do you see?
I see a girl's half face. Yeah.
You see a girl's half face. Yes. Well, this is the eye, this is the nose, this is the mouth, and this is the shape of the face. Now, out of the people who are watching this video today, can you share, any of you, somebody else, what you saw? If you saw the 2 images or you only saw 1 image? Kumar is telling us that he saw inner peace. Thank you, Kumar. How did you perceive that inner peace? 2 images, great. Anybody else? Of course, some of you might have already known the image. That's why I'm going to show you a second one later. Anybody else? What else? Yes?
The reason I see inner peace is only when you are at peace with yourself and in harmony with the universe. Will you see yourself as a part of the universe? When you see the tree growing out of your hair, and when you're juxtaposing flying birds with a human face, it means this person is in 100% harmony with nature.
Perfect. Thank you for
which means this person has achieved inner peace.
Thank you. Perfect. So we have these opinions here. And of course, you will understand that, for example, Kumar, by reaching this conclusion, by watching this image, this conclusion is based on his worldview, what he understands of the world, everything he learned before, his beliefs, and his personal essence. If you haven't lived, if you haven't experienced anything, it is very unlikely that you can come to the depth of explanation that Kumar just gave us. Let's see this second example. Let's see what you guys see on this second example. There you go. What do you see? Come on, let me know. What do you people see? Hello? You see nothing? Or did I missed you or lost you?
A rabbit.
You see a rabbit. Okay, thank you for that. There's a rabbit. Anything else that you guys see on this picture? A very good illustration, Shika says. Thank you.
I can see eagle's face.
An eagle's face? Okay.
Yeah, I mean like a vulture. Some
Okay. Yes.
bird.
So you
Yeah.
see
It could be a duck as well.
a duck.
Duck.
Okay.
Yeah. Duck.
You're seeing a duck and you're seeing a rabbit. Well, once again, this could be the beak and the eye, or this could be the snout, the mouth, the eye, and the ears of the rabbit. Once again, it will depend on your own personal worldview. And when you are a person who's gone through this type of exercise before, like I'm sure Shika at the beginning already reflected, you might see two pictures at the same time because you know the trick. You know how this goes. That is part of your worldview too. You look for the second meaning, the second image, because you know about this. You see? So the worldview, as I said, is uniquely yours because it depends on everything else. And then the fourth element is what we call the personal sphere. Personal sphere is like this treasure chest that we all have inside, where we store and keep everything that makes us uniquely us. It's, and this is important, very, very important, it is private and unreachable by other human beings. Whatever you put in your personal sphere, nobody else can touch, nobody else can take out, and nobody can put anything inside. So can you imagine what kinds of things you might have in your personal sphere? What is only yours? What is it that only you can put there? What is it that nobody can take from you? Any ideas? What do you have that is only yours and that nobody can take from you?
Beliefs. Values.
Values, peace. Yes. More things. Any other ideas?
Faith. Love.
Love. What was the other one? I heard love and I heard something else.
Faith.
Hate. Yes.
No, faith. I said faith.
Oh, faith. Faith. Sorry, faith. Yes. Personal spheres treasure everything, including the personal essence, the beliefs, and the worldview. It treasures our feelings, our emotions. It treasures our memories. See, I can tell you my memories. I can tell you about the time when I went to blah, 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 blah. Does that mean that my memory is now yours? No. You cannot live my memory. You can't make my memory yours. It's impossible. But you can make a memory of me telling you about my memory. So even if I share my memory with you, that memory is only mine. You see? So the important aspect of this personal sphere is that no matter what people say, nobody can put anything in your personal sphere or take anything out of it but you. And that's fundamental when we work with human beings, for example, at the level of feelings. A lot of people say, oh God, he made me feel happy. Really? I don't think so. You know, even if, I don't know, the best actor in the whole world, the sexiest man came here now into my office and I wanted to be very sexy and have him fall in love with me, I could try everything I wanted. Does that guarantee that he would love me? No, it's not in my power to make that person love me. It's for that person to decide whether they feel like they can love me or not. So feelings are also part of that personal sphere. And when people understand this, they immediately realize that the power is in their hands and nobody else's, which completely changes the rules of the game. Because many psychologists and coaches tell you that you have to do X and Y to do things, to change things. They try to give you a fantastic solution, a pill for everyone to solve situations. When in reality, you're the only one who can solve the situation because all those things are only in your power. So how does humanology work, and what does it do? Well, the difference between humanology and all the other disciplines is therefore that is not a pill for everyone. We realize that we cannot offer everyone one solution. You know, when people talk about, for example, things like happiness, you know, and they say, oh, you want to be happy? Meditate. And go like, why are you so certain that meditation is going to make me happy? I'm not you. It might not even work for me. And it's true. Nothing works for everyone. That's why in Humanology, we offer our clients what it is that they need at the specific moment. Sometimes they might need mentoring. Sometimes they might need coaching. Sometimes they might need NLP. Some other times they might need psychology or linguistics. We have this whole set of tools and knowledge that we can take from, that we can use to help the person target their life situation at that exact moment. We help them by offering them specific tools. And of course, not all tools in Humanology are Humanology based. We're not going to invent what already exists. I didn't invent, I don't know, NLP. I didn't invent Enneagrams, but I use them when my clients need them. But we did invent quite a few of the materials that conform Humanology. For example, optimism coaching that Alexandra is going to be presenting in a few minutes. Personal essence is one of the key elements in Humanology, as I just explained, or absolute forgiveness, a process that doesn't exist in any of the other fields. So what we do is we offer the human being the knowledge to know and understand who he or she is, and then the tools to take action to change whatever they want in their personal spheres to really change their life and their reality. With this, I will conclude my presentation, and I'm going to start giving thanks to the organizers of Drive to Thrive for giving us the opportunity to introduce Humanology to you all. I will finish now, and I will give the floor to the next speaker, who's going to be touching upon one of the methods of Humanology. There will be time for questions also at the end. So without further ado, let me please introduce the next speaker, who's going to be Alexandra Filippon. Alexandra, welcome. I am really happy to have you here.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to speak about optimism coaching, and I'm just going to share my screen.
Let me introduce you first, if you don't mind.
And I'll share the screen. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
let me say who Alexandra is, because like that you know a little bit. Oh, sorry about that. So you know a little bit more about who she is and what she does. Alexandra is a person that I met while living in Switzerland a few years back. She's a holistic mind-body coach, an optimism coach trained by the Institute, and the owner of her own coaching business, and a coach trainer at the International Coach Academy. She's originally from Germany, although she currently lives in the French-speaking part of Switzerland. And she was a printing engineer. Well, she is a printing engineer, but worked as a printing engineer for many years, for more than 20 in the corporate world. But then she realized that that was not exactly what she wanted to do. So she started training and learning and changed a little bit her approach. She is also a yoga and Pilates teacher and a mother of none less than 4 children. Alexandra is a passionate woman who is really caring about the human mind and body. And that's why she developed her unique holistic mind-body approach. As an optimism coach, she works primarily or principally with people who have experienced burnout or other trauma in their lives, and she supports them to find their unique way to live a happy and fulfilled life. Alexandra, very happy to have you here on board with us. The floor is all yours.
Thank you so much, Jessica, for this introduction. So I'm going to show you my slides to share them with you. And yeah, the question is, or what I'm going to talk about is optimism coaching. So first, why optimism? I mean, why do we believe in optimism? what does it make it so unique? For me, it was always clear, and it is also by science proved, that optimists, they enjoy better health and a longer life. So when you are happy in life and you really see things positive, I mean, it's also worth living longer, and it really also keeps your body younger, and you are less depressed, you have better relationships, better immune system, of course, less stress because you have less worries and less negative emotions. Optimists never give up because they always see a solution, always find a solution, are therefore more daring, more creative because their frontal lobe is less blocked, and they have more resources, greater success, and of course, they are happier. What do we mean by optimism coaching? Optimism coaching is one of the tools of Humanology, and it enables us to face life and work problems from a more positive aspect. So it's really helping us to focus on the positive things in life and not on all the bad things which can happen and maybe will never happen, but we have this in our mind to protect us. And optimism coaching is for everyone. So it's really for all ages, even for children, it is very helpful. And in all situations, if it's for at work, private persons, it will work for everybody because it's about the human being and not about the position or what we are doing. And so what is the difference between optimism coaching and normal, what I call normal coaching, which you probably know from the International Coaching Federation? So we also believe that the client has already the answer within itself, but the client is not ready yet to go there. And especially when I'm working with burnout people, they are so blocked and they are so much in the dark that they can't really open the first door to get better. So what we are doing, we are helping them. We are taking them really by the hand, and we show them the way out of the tunnel to the light. And so this is kind of a little bit more leading probably than you know it from the normal coaching, but it is very, very helpful for people who were in a depression or are very exhausted, and to help them to get out of the dark. And therefore we use special tools to enhance the positive thinking and the well-being. And I will later on show you some of these tools. So we do it in like 4 steps in the optimism coaching. It's first, we figure out why did the person become so negative, what happened, to understand a little bit better what is missing, what could help the person. So as Jessica said, we are deciding or going on a very special program for the individual program for this person. So there is no pre-written script in the sense of first we do this and the next step will be that. So we individualize it for each and every client we have with the different tools we are using. And then the second step is that we change the mood. We help the client to change the mood from a very gray, depressive mood or in very angry mood to a happy, optimistic mood. And then we help them to recover. And this period of time can be very different. So for some, it is just a couple of weeks, others, they may need months. It's really very different and individual. And then we support our clients to maintain the good mood. So the first question, as I mentioned, is why did they become pessimistic? What happened? Because when you are born as a child, you are usually already happy and everything is fine. But then things are coming from the outside to us, and very often we have already our first traumas, smaller traumas, bigger traumas in our childhood. And it could also come from a very special situation the client went through just in the closer past. Or what I observe very often when I'm working with my clients is that they are not living according to their essential self, but they are rather living to the social self, which means that they do what they think society wants them to do, or what they have learned, how they have to act or should act, like when they were a child, what they have learned. And this is like contradicting to the essential self, which means that it's draining a lot, and if not almost all the energy out of them. And very often it goes hand in hand with a certain deficiency of neurotransmitters. And so we are having, as optimism coaches, we are having a look in all of these details and then decide which tools we are using. So we change the mood. This is not very easy sometimes. It's because, yeah, some of our clients, they are so much in the negative and so deep down that it's really difficult for them to even start to believe again that there can be some happiness in their life and that there are happy and positive situations and things in their life, because they're just so blocked that they can't see it anymore. So we reflect on what is the situation and what neurotransmitters might be helpful or it being amiss. And so, for example, the dopamine, which reduces anxiety and improves the mood. So we have the tools and we work on it with the client to express gratitude, or we work on nice memories to get back from the past this positive feeling, so the dopamine can rise. For some people, physical exercises are really helpful, or just listening to some positive music. And one of my favorites is the oxytocin. So you get oxytocin from when you hug persons, or you get a gift, or you give a gift. And also by petting pets. So when you have a pet, you can also get the oxytocin from the pet. And just by hearing happy stories, positive stories. The oxytocin is very important for the good feelings we are having, trust, love, connection to community. And I observed that this was, especially during COVID, it was really difficult for a lot of people, especially for people who are living alone, to get enough of oxytocin. So I want you to invite you to our first exercise. It is, yeah, I would love to do a little visualization. If you have any cushion at hand or something, so take the cushion and wrap your arms around it. If you don't have a cushion, you can just wrap the arms around yourself. Take a deep breath in. And while breathing out, close your eyes. And now imagine that the cushion you're holding, or even when you're just wrapping the arms around you, that you are holding, you are hugging a very dear friend, a very dear person you are having. And just dive into this feeling, how it feels like to hug someone, to hold someone. Feel your body. Where in your body do you feel this lovely feeling? What color is coming up for you? What temperature are you feeling when you hug someone right now? Just stay there and feel what is going on in your body. Maybe you will feel some warmth. Smile is coming up on your face. You have this lovely feeling of connection. And then come back slowly. Open your eyes. And yeah, I invite you to share what came up for you when you did this exercise, if anything. Maybe you can come off mute or share it in the chat. No? Nobody is sharing? Did anything come up for you?
I'm feeling great, Alexandra.
Thank you.
Really, it was a very nice relaxation moment in which I felt like this fuzzy, warm feeling inside. I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. It was like, you know, when you're on the brink of sleeping and you feel this letting go of things and just being happy. Bliss is the right word. That's what I felt. Thank you, Alexandra.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And Hamza wrote, I believe I got oxytocin. So thank you for that. Yeah, it works like after 13 seconds, it starts to work. And Swati writes that felt happy.
Yes, it makes you feel really relaxed. You feel, I don't know, a sense of security. Things are okay. You feel that peace. So yeah, lovely. Thank you.
Thank you, Shika. Yeah, thank you. And Kumar writes, warmth in the chest, orange glow, felt loved, relaxed, and did not want to get out of this state again. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's what's happening. That's the magic of oxytocin. Amit, you want to say something?
Yes, I can breathe very properly. I can feel that the oxygen is going to my brain. So it's very good.
Thank you. Thank you. So this is what you can do for yourself. Also, what I invite you to do, especially in the evening, as Jessica also said, with the sleep, going to sleep, it really gives you the security to sleep well at night and that we can really relax while sleeping. And for also our clients, it is very helpful to get this security and this warm feeling to connect with others again. Because what happens is that when people are in a burnout, that they are in a very difficult situation, that they are disconnected or they get disconnected from other people, and this is even making their situation much more difficult than it is. Yeah, so thank you for your positive feedbacks. And now the next tool I wanted to share with you is the something good, and then the tree of happiness. So what do we mean by something good? I do this very often right in the beginning when I start to work with someone. It's tell the client that each night after dinner, they should write down 3 good things that happened during the day. Because the thing is that very often they say, oh, in my life, nothing positive is happening. So they don't even realize anymore what positive things are happening in their life. And so we want to help them to focus on these positive things, because then motorway in the brain. It's like structured to all to negative. They have this highway going on, only seeing all the bad things. And what we want to create first a small trail of positive things in their life, and then make this path broader. And then that they really get this motorway of seeing positive things, because this is the moment when the positive things will really come to them. And they get all the positive energy from the universe and from everywhere, whatever you believe in, where the positive energy is coming from in your life. So tell them to write down 3 good things, and then that they give to each one a title, that they really take the time to describe what happened in detail. So this is really to get them going deeper in the positive moments, analyze how it made them feel when it happened, and how it makes them feel now when they are writing it. And then that they try to figure out why it happened and what caused it. And also that they use it if something negative, that they think of something negative, that they can get back this positive experience, the feeling of the positive experience. And then that they think about what they learned from these 3 positive experiences. So you help them to dive in for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, whatever time they need in the evening, to be in a positive mood, in a positive mindset. Very often though, what I found is that it is almost too difficult for them in the beginning, too complicated. And then I just say, okay, just write down 3 positive things. It also can be like a beautiful flower, or a hug from someone, sunshine, whatever comes up, very easy things, so nothing great. So they can really start to realize what positive things are there in their life, and they just don't see them anymore. Now I invite you to use the time and write down 1 positive thing which happened to you today. Then give it a title, describe what happened, and just go through the exercise. And yeah, I'll give you 3 minutes for that. And then please share in the chat or come off mute in 3 minutes and share what happened. You have 1 minute left. Oh, and then you can start sharing in the chat. So there is already Nirmala. She's writing, hi all. Father of my clients felt very grateful. He touched my feet and said they're having good time with their son because of me. Whenever these incidents happen, I feel good and grateful to Almighty. Thank you for sharing it. Probably you can also share where in your body you feel this good feeling.
Yeah, it was.
Nirmala?
It was very nice. The person came and said that they're having a good time with this because they were going through a very rough patch the last year, But these days have been really good and nice. And it is all because of me and my treatment. So it made me feel good. And I thank God for that. I mean, it's not me, I'm an instrument to God, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
So, and these kind of incidents happen quite often in the clinic. So that is what makes me feel good. So that's what gives me the motivation to work and work and work. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing it. It's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. You are all very good. Very nice presentation.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm getting some tips what else we can do. Yeah.
And that's the, yeah, sorry.
We are all in the helping profession, so we all have to learn from each other and facilitate lives of others who ever come to us.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. And as you said, now this is giving us the courage to continue and also a lot of energy to continue the work.
That is true. I'm still at the clinic, so but I said I'll attend this and I'll give this. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay then. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. So Kumar also shared, my friend's son drove me to the doctor, first driving experience. He has just recently got his driver's license and it thrilled me to see him drive so responsibly and following all the rules, and took us to the doctor and back. And I'm so happy for him because I consider him as my son also. So we can already feel the positive energy in this moment. So thank you very much for sharing. I need to continue because I only have a couple of minutes left. And I want to share another tool with you, which I also love a lot and I appreciate a lot. It's a little bit like Circle of Life, if you know that tool, but I think it goes deeper because we work more with intuition. It's called the Tree of Happiness. And we invite our clients to draw a tree, and with the roots are the origins, where they come from or where they feel rooted in. The trunk is themselves, and the leaves are the happiness, and the branches the topic. And already by very intuitively drawing the tree, a lot of insight is happening and coming up. And you really can assure your clients that they don't need to be a professional artist to draw. Anything is okay. And they can also use any color which is coming up. And if you know a little bit about color, you can also then coach them around the colors they were using, because already the colors can tell you a lot. And I just give you an example. So when they draw the tree, one branch might be probably, or for example, job. So what is in the job? What is going on right now? It's the working hours, working place, traveling, atmosphere at the workplace, the salary, colleagues, and so on. So they are all free to show what, or to write down what they want, and then put the leaves on the tree. And this is so astonishing how it works, because very often when I have people like in a workplace context and they are not feeling well, it is not actually about the workplace where the leaves are missing, but very often it's about family or friends, or it can be so many different things. And this is what is really coming up with this tool. So I can recommend this tool. To use it for yourself, sit down. It takes some time. So I'm also giving it sometimes as a homework. So the clients, they have the time to sit down in peace and quiet and create their own tree. You can try it out later if you want, of course. So to come back about optimism coaching, I briefly showed you how we are working. So we use this. We've changed the mood now, and I hope you're all feeling connected and happy, and then stay in the recovering phase and maintain the good mood. And thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alexandra. I love optimism coaching because it's one of the tools that helps our clients really shift their view of life and how they approach life. As I said at the beginning, we're presenting some different topics of humanology. We try to give you an overall view of one of its methods, but of course, humanology is much wider and much deeper. Optimism coaching, we use it when our clients don't have the necessary energy to tackle their lives, to deal with their problems. So we first need to help them regain that energy, regain that confidence, so they can go about their lives. I'm going to introduce the next speaker to you. The next speaker is also part of the Institute, is not only an optimism coach and a humanologist in training, but the creative director of the Institute. And he's going to be offering us something different, because we cannot go into all the different methods included in humanology. We decided to offer you a specific case. One case study through the approach followed by the optimism coach or humanologist in this case. So you could see how to approach a situation in a unique humanological way. I am extremely proud and happy to introduce the next speaker. His name is James. Well, he goes by James Soul. And as I said, he's the creative director at the Institute. He combines the knowledge of human beings with his wide experience on different creative fields, such as illustration, graphic design, and even baking. He illustrated several works at one of the most prestigious bakeries in the world, designs materials for multiple clients, and helps those who need humanology or optimism sessions in any fields of their lives. A passionate entrepreneur, his work for different companies in many countries gained him recognition and respect. Soul understands that humanology is a basic piece in understanding and helping human beings, and uses it in every creation and in every session with his clients. Furthermore, he envisions a world in which such an understanding becomes the basis for companies and organizations. So I'm going to invite James to join us here today to take the floor and to make a presentation on a very specific case and how he dealt with it. James, welcome and thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you for introducing me, and thank you everyone for having me here and letting me participate in this event. It is a great honor. As Jessica mentioned, I will be speaking about something quite specific within humanology, but I think that it is extremely important nonetheless. And that's why I think it should be addressed in today's conference, because, well, we are talking about humanology, so, well, let me speak about it. I'm going to be talking about cultivating talent within you and within people in general. So let me put the presentation up. Give me just 1 second, please. Okay. Please confirm with me that you are able to see it.
Yes, we can see it. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Well, like I said, we're going to be speaking about cultivating talent. And what does that mean? We often think about what talent is and we say, okay, it's something that I excel in, that comes naturally to me. You know, there's people who are incredible singers, there's amazing painters, who are able to paint incredibly at such a young age as 3, 4 years old. It just comes naturally to them. And many of us think that that is what talent is. But that's where we're wrong. Talent is much more than just that. Yes, that is talent, but there's also different kinds of talent. A talent can also be something that we have acquired over time, a skill that we have gotten so good at, that we are so confident in, that we're so good at, just that we master it. That is also talent. We learned how to do that. It is something that we are good at. It can be useful to us, or it could be useful to the rest of the world. It does not have a set definition. It's something that's just positive about us. So let me explain what that means. When we're focusing on constructing ourselves and our identities and where we're trying to go towards in the future, we're often told that we need to focus on correcting the things that we're not good at. The typical situation where you're at a school and they tell you, oh, you need to be better at writing. You have to be better at maths. You need to be better at physics. You should be better at physical education. And they tell you to focus on that. You're already good at theater. You're already good at other things. So they shift your attention towards that you're not good at, or that others consider that you're not good at. And what happens there? That when we're trying to focus on the negative, where we're trying to build ourselves and build those talents by trying to correct that which we don't do well, we often don't go very far, because we enter a very, very deep negative cycle. And that cycle is this: we begin to doubt ourselves because we're being constantly corrected by our peers, by our family members, by ourselves many times. And because we doubt ourselves, we start to focus, okay, well, maybe I'm not that good. Maybe I can't do this. So, okay, what can I do to improve? I have to do something to get better. So we start to focus on that, what we cannot do. Let's see how I can get better at physics. Okay, I'm gonna get a tutor. Let's see how I can devote all my time and effort to becoming better at that what I've been told that needs to improve. We become so focused on just that one path, that one thing, that we start to neglect everything else that was good about us, that was positive, that was optimist about us. And we start to neglect it, and we start to undervalue it. And because of that, we undervalue ourselves, and we doubt ourselves more. And you see where I'm going with this? You enter a cycle that you're not able to escape, that you yourself have put yourself into, and you yourself have to be able to get out of. But it's very hard when you're doubting yourself and when you're only focusing on, I have to get better at physics. I have to get better at maths. I have to. What about everything that you were already good at naturally? What about your theater skills? What about your painting? What about your singing? What about all the arts? What about all of those wonderful, beautiful things that you would have been able to create had you focused on what you were good at already? What made you happy? What made you enter the state of flow where time ceased to exist? It was just you and what you were doing in that very moment. Why did you neglect that part and focus on that makes you miserable? On that makes you doubt yourself and everything around you? You see, that's what happens when we focus on the negative, when we focus on correcting rather than celebrating, rather than nurturing and growing. Like I said, we become mediocre, we become average. I don't think anybody wants to become mediocre or average, at least I wouldn't. When you were a child, did you dream of being something different? from what you are now? Please answer in the chat if you'd like. Were you told that you wouldn't be good enough? Were you made to doubt yourself? Is that why you're not what you were dreaming of becoming when you were a child? Or is it just simply because you grew out of it, you decided something else? It could be as well. But be very honest with yourself. Ask yourself that question. Because many times when we're kids, we dream of incredible things, oh, I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a firefighter. I want to be a scientist. I want to be a rock star. How many of us have heard, oh, put your feet on the ground, focus on studying, focus on doing these things. You have to be better at these things because that's not going to get you anywhere. That's not going to bring you anything. Isn't that the case? So you see, nobody would want to become mediocre or average. So why focus on that? Like I mentioned, this is the never-ending loop. A little bit more summarized, a little bit easier to digest. But as you see, there's no way of escaping it. It just becomes a never-ending cycle where you go deeper and deeper and deeper into this low self-esteem, negative emotion. And we don't want that. We want to be optimists. We just had a conversation about that. We just had a conference about it. So let's see what we can do. What we can do is this. We need to cultivate talent by focusing on the positive, like I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation. And how do we do that? Well, first of all, we need to be able to figure out what guides me. Okay, what are my virtues? What is that is so important to me that I cannot put aside? For example, I'll use myself as an example for this. I'm a person who always says that has a lot of principles. I stick to my morals and to my ethics, no matter what. If there's a situation where I see that my ethics are being compromised, or I think that I'm doing the wrong thing or that I'm going to hurt somebody, I simply do not do it. Or I look for a different way to be able to achieve the result that I want without putting that in compromise. So we could say that that is one of my virtues because it's important to me and it guides me throughout my days in making my decisions. That could be mine, but let's think of somebody else. Maybe there's a person who says, my virtues are, I'm very good at listening to people. I'm very good at helping others. It's something that's important to me. I live to help others. That's what I'm here for. Okay, that's your virtue. Perfect. But that's not enough. The next step is figuring out what our abilities are, what we do well. Okay, so let's see. Let's go back to using me because, well, I can only speak for myself, obviously. What are my abilities? Well, I'm good at cooking. I'm good at baking. I have a creative mind. I'm good at creating different things, different designs and posters. Okay, so those are my abilities. That's something that I'm able to do naturally, that I know how to do it well, and it just comes naturally to me. I have not had to invest time in improving it or acquiring that skill before. Perfect. Okay, so we have that. But your abilities, again, they can be anything. It could be something as, for example, folding clothes. How many people have been told that folding clothes or cleaning is not a talent? It's not an ability. Really? Maybe we should ask Mary Kondo that. She has become incredibly successful all around the world doing just that. Folding clothes, organizing and cleaning, decluttering clutter, because that's her talent and she worked on it. You see? You might think that it's not an ability because others might question it. But be honest. If you are good with it, it comes naturally, it is an ability, no matter how small you think it may be. So now we have our virtues and we have our abilities. What's the next step? The next step is to figure out what our skills are. We mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, the talent is not just that comes to us naturally. It is also skills that we have acquired, that we have mastered so well that we're so confident in. Well, that's what I'm talking about here, our skills. Going back to using me as an example, okay, well, let's see. What have I gotten extremely good at? Well, I'm very good at using different computing softwares to be able to do my designs and be able to do my creations. I'm naturally tech savvy, but I needed to learn how to use those programs. I needed to know where the things were to be able to use them to my advantage, right? I had my ability of being able to design, being able to create, because that comes naturally, but that wasn't enough. I needed the skill to be able to combine it. So I acquired it, I learned how to use the programs, and now I'm a master of those programs and I can do whatever creation, whatever design I wish. Well, let's take the example of folding clothes. Okay, well, maybe there's different kinds of folding patterns, or maybe there's different techniques, or maybe a person learned the best way of storing those folded clothes so that the folds don't crease. That skill was acquired and they mastered it. You see where I'm going? We're building. So now that we have our virtues, our abilities, and our skills, there's just one more thing that we have to figure out: how we can combine it all. All of those things are what makes us us. It is our talent. It is what makes us unique and what makes us be able to stand out and be able to move forward and present something to the world that we can truly give with a positive mindset. So once you figure out your abilities, your virtues, your abilities, and your skills, you're able to define your talent. You need to define it though. It's important to be specific with our words and with our actions, not only for ourselves, but around us as well. So, like I said, once we have defined our talent, we have that, okay, perfect, yes, great, I have my talent. Okay, now what do I do with it? What can I do? I have all of this talent, I'm able to design all of these great things, I'm able to do these things, but okay, well, what use do I do with it? Where do I put that? Well, that's where setting goals comes in. We have to be congruent with the goals that we have in order to excel as a person. You know, everything that we say about having a purpose, having that direction, that path, those goals, that finishing line. It is important to have that, because like that, we have something that we can use to implement those talents in. Let's say, okay, maybe my goal is creating a company that makes designs for people in a way that helps them connect with others that never before. You know, maybe be able to connect different cultures and be able to create a multicultural experience. Okay, I have a goal. Perfect. How do I get there? Well, through my virtues, my abilities, and my skills, with my talent, step by step, using them to guide me and constructing on the positive, focusing on that which I can do well and seeing how I can excel in that. Because you see, all of the time that I've devoted right now on focusing on that of which I'm good at, not only do I feel better, happier, more energized, but I'm also more willing to take on the world and want to do more things. So you see, just that little shift in mindset, like we were talking just previously, right? In optimism coaching, you have it right there. with talent as well. Okay, so we have our talent, we have our goal. Well, that's perfect. But we're the only ones that are able to get there, okay? It's also important to know that because we think, well, I have all of this talent. I am this incredible singer, for example, and I have a voice that's wow, that never before, you know, I could be maybe one of the greats. But the problem is I don't get any gigs. I Nobody wants to buy my CDs. Nobody's giving me any opportunities. There's no records that want to sign me. What am I going to do with this? Go out and make experiences. If a record label's not trying to find you, go to them. Organize the meetings yourself. Go to the shops and try and sell the CDs yourself. Organize events. Try and create live music to try and gain more people to come and see you. You see, you are taking charge. You are in control. You take the reins of it because you are the only one that can cultivate your talent. All of these external people, all of these record labels, these companies, all of these things, they might tell you, they might try and guide you, but nobody can force you to sing. Nobody can force you to record that record. You know, they could give you a contract of $1 million. If you don't do it, the contract's still there. Nothing has happened, right? You are in charge. You cultivate your talent. So that's what I would do. You know, I want to get to creating that company of design that we mentioned. Okay, well, let me start networking. Let me start presenting my art. Let's do showcases. Let's try and do collaborations with other people. Let's get published in magazines. Let's try and do things so that I can get there, so that my talent matches my goal, and my goal gets me to cultivate my talent and gets me there. That's how I can get there. Perfect. So you see, once you discover your talents, you are able to make them shine because you are your own talent. You are your own path. You decide it at every single step of the way. So take charge, take control. Don't you think that that's important? You know, I would like for the speakers to, well, for the speakers, for all of the people that are participating in the event, to take a few minutes to think about, just for example, how much time do you spend a day trying to correct that which you do wrong? Okay? Think deeply, think within you and think, okay, throughout my day, how many times do I correct myself? How many times do I tell myself off? How many times do I have this conversation telling me, oh, you should have done this better, or you should have changed this, or okay, you have to work harder on this, or tomorrow you're gonna invest even more time on this because you're not doing it well? Or how much time a day do you spend just focusing on this? Okay, I see that there's some people saying almost all the time. You see? You see how inflictive that is, how harmful that is. Now, let me ask you this. How much time do you spend each day celebrating that which you do well, that which you excel in? No matter how small, like I said, it could be folding clothes, it could be writing, you know, or it could be washing dishes, it could be making the best coffee. How much time do you spend celebrating that or improving it? Be honest with yourself, truly. I know these are hard questions. It's a hard pill to swallow, I know. But be honest with yourself. I see that there's some people saying that they focus on their strengths most of the time. That is wonderful, and I'm so glad that you do. That's the right way to do it, because when you focus on that, you grow so much more as a person. It's incredible, isn't it? Just that shift in mindset, right? Why don't we try to do that just now? Just for a few minutes. Try and write down on here in the chat everything that you can come up with that you're good at. Everything, no matter how small. All of your abilities and all of your skills. Let's see. Try focusing on it. Try focusing on what you're doing, on what you're writing. Dig deep inside yourself and think of all of that which is good within you, which is so positive, filled with so much love, with so much energy, with so much vibrance. Think of that and write them down. I encourage everybody to do it, including the speakers as well. Take a few minutes to do it. I request everybody to please share their skills and their abilities as they're writing them down. Let's fill this conference with even more positive energy and that positive mindset. Remember, optimism is contagious. Wonderful. I see that we are getting lots of results. With your permission, I will read them out. I'm not going to say who is who, because, well, I like to maintain a certain confidentiality. But let's see what abilities, what talents, what skills all of these wonderful people have. Well, we have somebody saying that they're a speaker, a writer, a creator, an ideologist, a mother, a woman, a human being, a teacher, an interpreter, a reader, a listener, a supporter, a laugher, an optimism spreader. Wow. There's other people saying being a mom, making people happier, speaking with people in different languages, healing, astrology, cooking, mentoring, finding my own errors and correcting them, drawing, problem solving, social work, networking, helping the needy, coaching, teaching, writing, orating, healing, a mother again, and the wife and the friend, listening, being able to forgive, being a fitness enthusiast. Wow. Do you see what incredible things you have to offer the world? Do you see this beauty that you have within you that is just there and you just need to make it shine? Do you see that? And how do you feel now that you have written them down? How do you feel after having thought about it, after having to focus on it, forcing yourself, okay, what am I good at? What is good about me? Tell me, how do you feel? I encourage you to let me know. I see some people are saying good. Yes, exactly. You see, it's something very simple. You just wrote them down. You haven't really done much else. Oh, fulfilled. Perfect. But you see, just taking a few minutes, a few moments of your time to focus on that which you are good at, which you excel at, which is part of who you are. You see how things change. You see how the energy around you has changed, how you feel towards yourself. Has the respect towards yourself increased? Do you feel more energized, more powerful? Do you feel stronger? Do you feel more determined? It's a very simple thing, but that's what we speak about when we focus on the positive. Because when we work on correcting, we just become good. Yes, because we can become good when we correct our mistakes. You know, there's a lot of people who are very good at a lot of things, but that's the case. That's just it. They're just good. We want to be superb. We want to be magnific, extraordinary. That's where we want to go. Not just good. That's what we said. Nobody wants to be average or mediocre. When you can be that superpower, you can be that superhuman that we were talking about before, right? Let's use our talents because, hey, talent is also part of your superpowers, let me tell you, okay? And use that and work on building on the positive. Work on becoming that great human being that you are and have always been. Because it's there, it's right there, nowhere else, it's right there. So you've got this. It's as simple as that. So, like I said, let's make everything shine. Let's make ourselves shine by taking control of our reality and by deciding to focus on our talents, on cultivating that which is positive, which is good, rather than correcting that which is negative, so that we can truly become those superhumans that we are able to. Thank you for listening to my presentation. It was a pleasure. And well, I hope that you enjoyed it.
Thank you so much, James. That was superb. And we're going to continue because we have a lot of things to cover. We're going to enter that part of our presentation in which we're going to have a panel. We're going to have the panel discussion, instructions for the panel discussion, everyone. We're going to open the panel and we have a few questions ready for everyone. And we're going to invite you, once we answer those questions, we're going to invite you all to pose yours. We're sure you have questions. This is new territory. We're talking about a new discipline, and I'm sure you'll have questions. Maybe you want to comment things. You will have your chance. We're going to invite the three speakers to join us now on the screen. Open your cameras again, please, Alexandra, James. And because our conductor, I think, still working with the police after that little car accident, sorry, Dr. Harkema, I think didn't manage to make it on time. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask the questions and I'm going to let the other two speakers answer the questions, and I will just give some answers whenever I find something to add that I think hasn't been said, if you don't mind. And like that, I hope we can offer you all the answers we want and all the answers we need. So we're going to begin by asking different questions. So the questions are going to be answered by both of them. Like that, you're going to have two different perspectives and maybe three, if I offer you mine too, on what we think about this topic. Let me therefore just ask the first question, if I can make this screen work properly for us. There we go. Okay. So the first question says, what is, in your opinion, the biggest contribution of Humanology? James, Alexandra, what is, in your opinion, the best contribution of Humanology? Alexandra, would you like to take the floor so we let James rest a little bit?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, for me, I would say bringing happiness and love to this life, to the world, and to each human being. And I think this is really the essence of Humanology, what we can give to the people with that.
Thank you, Alexandra. James, what would you like to add?
Well, I would say that the biggest contribution of Humanology is Humanology. It's the field on its own because nothing like it has ever existed before. You know, we were talking about that, how We have psychology, we have philosophy, anthropology, all of these ologies, right? But they only just focus on one aspect of the human being. It's what we keep on saying. Why? Why is that the case? Why can't we see humans as a whole? Take into consideration every little aspect of that person. That's why I think humanology is the biggest contribution, because it does that. It analyzes the human being and it provides you with so many different tools and an understanding of what it is to be a human being, that you're able to tackle absolutely anything in your life. And because of that, it is so incredibly powerful that I wouldn't be able to single out just one thing in humanology. That's why I would have to say, yeah, the entire field. That's a tough question to answer.
I'm so tempted to add a quick statement, Jessica. You look all enlightened right now. I don't know, what is it on your face?
I was going to say it's optimism coaching, but
You're all lit and enlightened.
That's funny. Okay, I'm just going to add one thing that I would highlight about humanology. And it's that, well, in recent centuries, not even recent years, but in recent centuries, I think that most focuses in our development of human beings have been outwards. We have been focusing on external things. We've been focusing on development in technology, development in agriculture, development, all external things. And I think that one of the key aspects of humanology is that it brings us back inside. It focuses back onto the human being. I think we should be aware that everything in the planet, everything humans do is for and by humans. Biology, we study animals. Life, for us. We don't study it just because. We study it because it has applications for us or because it helps us somehow. Architecture. Why do we study architecture? To build things for us. Everything is human-based. And that's why I think it was about time we reverted that trend and we went back into focusing on human beings. I think we have to go back to basics. I think we have to remember that we are at the core of everything. And we have to start considering that humanology is a part of everything we do. It should be a part even of mathematics. What do we do mathematics for? Us. So we should also consider what mathematics are doing for humanity and for human beings. So in that sense, I think that it's important to highlight that humanology aims at becoming a science that looks back into the human being. So I have another question for you guys. Then, as I said, we're asking everyone to pose questions. I see already a few questions on our chat. We'll take them as soon as we finish. These are the questions that we have here. Alexandra, James, what role do you think humanology should play in today's world? James, what role do you think humanology should play in today's world?
Well, I think that it should be one of the subjects in schools. I think that it should be a subject that is taught right from the beginning, as early as kindergarten, because I think that humanology is simple yet complex enough to be able to understood at any age. And I think that the earlier we start, the better, because it's what we were saying today. You know, we have so much to offer. We work on constructing in the positive. We work on optimism coaching. We work on providing a person the tools needed to overcome any obstacle. And isn't that what we want for future generations? To be able to overcome any obstacle that may come their way? The world already, as it is in a very, very dire situation. We don't know what's going to happen. We were having pandemics and wars and different devastations with the climates, and there's so much going on, and it's getting harder and harder and harder, that there's not going to be enough for the next generations to pull through, to be able to move forward. So I think that if we implement humanology within schools already and start educating them that there's a different way, that there are ways of communicating where we don't have to use social masks, where each person has a personal sphere and that is okay, where there's difference in cultures and that's fine. We should celebrate them. We should cherish them. Do you realize that if we had humanology in our education system, all that would follow as well? Just that change would create a domino effect and have, as a consequence, change in the behavior and perspective of other things. That's what we have done throughout time with multiple different subjects. So why don't we do it with this one too? You know, back in the day, we used to have home ed, we used to have gardening, we used to have other classes in school, right? Not just maths and science and literature. We used to have other things, right? Now it seems as though they never prepare us for the outside world. Well, let's go back to having those useful subjects because, of course, education is very important. But being able to manage yourself in the outside world is twice as important, I'd say, because all the knowledge won't take you there, but humanology will. So yeah, that I would say that that's the role that I think humanology should play. It should be an implemented subject in every single school in the world.
Thank you so much, James. Alexandra, where do you see it?
Yeah, I see it that it should be everywhere because it would help so many people. And also to come to a question, what Shika said is optimism is often perceived as opposite to realism.
And I'm sorry, Alexandra. Sorry, the questions from
but I'm coming. Yeah, but that's what is coming.
Okay.
I want it here, now, because most people I'm working with, they are living so much in the worry side. So if they shift to more optimism, they are in the realistic view. And that's why it is so important to have it, humanology. That's what I wanted to say. I didn't want to not answer your question, but it's it's just not the optimism, that it's like not realistic, but so many people, their worries and every day think and as James said, with all the wars and everything going on, we all have the feeling that life has become so heavy, so hard, so gray and whatever, and we miss to have a look at all the beautiful things around us, and they also exist. They're also there. And that's why humanology should be everywhere and taught everywhere, and especially also to children.
Thank you so much. Yeah, no, I was just going to say, Alexandra, that we will take all those questions after the 3 ones we have, because, well, we think that the questions the audience poses are fundamental. We need to see how they understood everything and how we want to respond to them too. So I will just add that our vision in the Institute of Humanology is precisely to get humanology to become a compulsory subject matter in every school, primary school in the world. That's our long-term view and our long-term dream. So I invite everyone present here today to help us disseminate it and to help us really help other human beings know and understand themselves, because that's what humanology does. The next question, and the last in our set of prepared questions, is what would you tell somebody who wishes to become a humanologist? Alexandra, you studied with us. What would you tell someone who wants to become a humanologist?
I would say go for it. It will change your life. It's that easy. Because when you start looking deeper into it and learning all the tools, and then you try it out on yourself, and already this changes your life deeply in a positive manner, and also the life of all the human beings around you. It brings a lot of positive energy in your surroundings.
Wow, thank you so much, Alexandra, for that answer. That was very, very straightforward. James, what would you tell somebody?
Well, first of all, I would say that is fantastic. we want more people to become humanologists. Of course, that's what we're all about. We want humanology everywhere. We want optimism everywhere. So yes, please do contact us, talk to us. It is so important to have people who want to help the world. And I think that a person who wants to become a humanologist by default has to have a little bit of that in them, because if not, you wouldn't be going into that field, you know. And we need more people like that. We need more people who want to help others, who want to make a positive impact in this world. And I think humanology has the capacity to do so. So yes, that's incredible. Please do contact us. We have all the information, and we're more than happy to help and welcome you. That's what we're all about. That's what I would say.
Thank you, James. As the director of the Institute of Humanology, though, I have to give a little warning, and that is, with us, almost anybody can become an optimism coach or specialize in some of our tools. But we don't train everybody as humanologists. Not everyone is accepted into our institute to become a humanologist. And why, you may wonder? Well, because in order to be a humanologist, you have to be able to understand and explain human beings. And we explained the 4 elements of the personal sphere of the human being today, and one of them is the worldview. If you have no experience whatsoever, or if your life experience is very limited, you're not going to be able to really see or understand what some of your clients are telling you. You know, today we have professionals who finish their basic university training at the age of 22. Very, very few people would be really ready to be humanologists at that age, because very few people have had a lot of learnings from life. And one of the key elements in understanding and explaining human beings and becoming a humanologist is mixing all the theoretical and academical knowledge with your own life journey. And if you haven't lived, you can't really fully take other people's shoes. That's why we offer adapted training. We offer specific courses like optimism coaching. James, are you telling me there's a sound problem?
Yes, you cut out for a
It's
few
okay now.
seconds.
Okay, sorry.
last-
Thank you. I'm just saying that we are not training everybody because we need people who understand other human beings. Okay, we're going to take the questions from the audience now. And in this part of the panel, the whole idea is that you guys answer the questions as you wish. The questions are not directed unless the person writes who the questions.
Right. Do you have any qualifications for the humanologist training? Do you ask for any specific qualification?
Okay.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Jessica. You seem to be having some audio issues. We could not hear you while you were speaking again. I would suggest to connect and reconnect the microphone just in case. Sometimes that happens.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Yes.
The problem is it just cuts out all of a sudden. So that's why, so it doesn't happen again, I'm just letting you know.
Okay, let me try that. Let me turn the microphone off and then on again. Let's see, 1 second. I'm sorry. This is what happens when we're going live. 1 second.
I like the sound effect, Jessica, while we're going live.
Okay, there I am again.
Okay, I think Dr. Nirmala asked a question. So can one of you just answer that, please?
Yes, there are 2 questions here. I will answer that first question, and then I will give the floor to my colleagues if they want to answer the question. And then we will answer the other ones that we already have in the chat. Well, as for people being qualified to become humanologists, we do ask people to have a minimum level of academic training. Why? Because the courses, the training courses are complex and they require a minimum level of understanding. So we ask people to have some basic training in whatever other field they've studied before. They have to somehow prove that they have the basic understanding. We are currently in the process of having our whole humanology degree program being accepted by a university in the United States as a master's degree. And it is comprised of 4 degrees, 4 diplomas. One is optimism coaching. The other one is personal development. The third one is human relations. And the fourth one is human development. The 4 together constitute the master's degree. Right now, while the paperwork is being completed because we were delayed because, of course, of COVID, that seemed to delay everything in the world, we are offering the training courses through our institute. As we said before, we're accredited by different institutions in the world. And what people need to do if they want to become qualified is just contact us and ask us if their qualifications are enough. If the person who wants to become trained has some academic background and has lived a little bit, we might consider that person as an ideal candidate. I hope I answered the question. Would any of my colleagues like to add anything?
Yeah, I got the answers. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So there was another question, and then we'll open the floor to everybody else. There was a question in the chat that says, why is it so difficult for us to look inward? Who would like to answer that question? Why is it so hard for us to look inward? Yes, Alexandra, go for it.
Yeah, I would like to start. I think it's because so many people there are scared what is coming up. And so it's kind of a protection that we are not looking into ourselves, because very often we live for years with a closed heart. And this is like the biggest protection we are giving to ourselves without realizing that we are taking all the energy, all the life energy from us with that. But that's what a lot of my clients are having trouble with.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Alexandra. Would you like to add anything, James, or do I go?
I would like to actually add something. Well, first of all, I would actually ask the person whether they find it hard to look inwards or not, because I don't think everybody has a difficulty with it. Yes, it is often a difficult thing, but there are some people that are naturally good at that, that have that as a talent. So I think that Alexandra's very right in that sense, that we have that protective shield that we put around us, because, well, we've often been told to show ourselves little by little to others. We're told to gradually show our interests, and, oh, you're going to scare them away. You know, how many times have our parents told us that, for example, being kids on the first day of school? Just be yourself, but don't say too much. Just listen, just watch. You're being within yourself. You're staying there. You're shielding yourself. Oh, I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna look around, and little by little, I'm gonna show myself, but very, very little. That's part of what we were talking about before, and when we focus on correcting the negative. You're focusing on correcting something that you consider is negative about yourself. You are looking inwards and you think that what you're going to find is negative. So you're not wanting to focus on it, or you're trying to focus on it in a way to correct it. But inwards, there's also a lot of beauty and there's a lot of joy as well, as we mentioned before. So maybe I would say, rather than why is it so hard to look inwards, is what are you trying to find inwards? Are you looking for everything, for the positive and the negative? Or are you just focusing on the negative? On what demons you're going to find? What about all of those beautiful assets that you have? Maybe you connect with your inner child, give it a hug, and maybe you feel warm inside. Maybe you feel safe because you looked inwards. So I would say question that question that you gave us, first of all, because I don't think everybody has the same circumstances or same situations. But if it is something that is difficult for you, try and approach it like we just said, by focusing on the positive, by focusing on what's good inside. Because yes, everything has a good and a bad, but there's always a good. Focus on that.
Thank you, James. Let me just add very quickly that once again, and this is something that James touched upon, but didn't really go deeper into, once again, it's a matter of learning as well. We're often not taught how to look inward. In certain cultures in the world, the inner world is very important and is very much approached at home, in school, but in other cultures, it's completely neglected and doesn't even exist. So if you have difficulties reaching inwards, you could perhaps work with a humanologist to learn how to go inside and to approach that inwards world of yours with love, care, and positivity, as James just said. We have another question that I would like to pose, and it's a question that touches my heart very much. It's posed by Shika, and she says, optimism, and this is what Alexandra was talking about, optimism is often perceived as opposite to realism. And can you explain how optimism is realistic too? Well, can I answer something? Can I say something? Because this touches my heart so much. Okay, the way I see optimism and pessimism is, imagine there's a continuum, okay? And we have an optimist and a pessimist standing on one end of that continuum. And they both have a goal at the end of the continuum that they want to reach. And they're both standing on that end and they're looking at that goal. And they see that there's an obstacle in between. Let's place an obstacle. There's an obstacle in between. And they both have to get to the goal across from the space. I'm sure you're going to think of people you know when I say what I'm going to say next. What is the pessimist thinking? The pessimist is thinking, oh, I have to get to that goal and it's going to be hard and it's going to be difficult. And look at that obstacle. That obstacle is humongous. It's huge. I'm not going to be able to pass that obstacle. Why do they want me to do all these things? And as the pessimist starts walking, approaching the obstacle, his mind is focused on all those difficulties and problems he's going to encounter to get to the other side. When he finally reaches the obstacle, he goes like, I'm going to pass this obstacle and reach that goal. And he tries and uses the tool that he has. Okay, there we go. I can't pass it. What does the pessimist then do? See, I knew it was impossible. It was very hard. And he immediately gives up. Why? He's already been thinking he can't do it. He only has one or two tools that he can use because those are the ones that he's used before and proved successful. So when those don't work, he just gives up. The optimist, on the other hand, is a person that starts approaching the obstacle while thinking, look at that obstacle on my way, and I have to get to the other end. I'm sure I can overcome that obstacle. There's so many tools I can use. Okay, so he starts approaching the obstacle and tries with the tools he has, like the pessimist did. Oh God, it's harder than I thought. No worries, I'll try something else. Oh no, I can't pass it. It's so hard. Well, then I look this other way. This is a tough obstacle. I know. I'm going to take some impulse and I'm going to just jump the obstacle. What's happening here? What's really actually happening is that, as Alexandra told us today, the optimist is not giving up. The optimist is looking for ways to overcome the obstacle and reach his goal. And if one of the tools he uses doesn't work, he tries another one, and then another one, and then another one. And by doing this all the time in life, what ends up happening is that the optimist becomes more creative, because if one thing doesn't work, he tries something else. More resourceful, because he accumulates a lot of tools that he's been trying on and off his whole life. He becomes more apt and flexible. The pessimist just gives up. So when you tell me that optimism and realism are at the end the same thing, what I can say to that is that optimists are very down-to-earth people with a very logical mind that are very rational. Why? Because we're constantly testing and trying and checking and trying and testing and trying. So the main difference between both optimist and pessimist is the level of willingness to overcome obstacles and continue trying. So a realist, according to some people, is like the pointing between an optimist and a pessimist. I don't think there's anything like a real, pure, realistic person, because at the end of the day, we all have a little bit of optimism and a little bit of pessimism in our lives. So in that sense, realism as such, well, it depends on the topic and it depends on the obstacle you have to overcome. I hope I answered your question, Shika, but of course I would like James and Alexandra to add whatever they want to.
I want to add, if it's okay, Jessica, because yeah, I came across quite a lot of people, and I asked that question for a purpose because I've seen clients having these kind of paradoxical thoughts every now and then, and they find it more difficult to relate to things that are positive in nature because they feel that you're kind of blinding yourself towards something that exists, which is not okay. And I'll give you a quick example. Yeah, I'll give you a quick example. During the COVID times, there were so many people who were facing problems. There were so many people who were struggling with the disease and families that had pain and grief to deal with. But there were also innumerable numbers of patients who had recovered. There were families who had reunited. There were people who were just coming for help from nowhere. Okay, someone somewhere was helping someone where really no one knew where that help was coming from. So honestly, within my house, I've had these kind of discussions several times over with my own husband, where both of us are talking about it. He's like, you kind of blinding yourself towards what exists. You're not being realistic. And I'm like, no, you know what? Optimism is everything to do with the bigger picture. And to my assessment, I focus my energy here because I want this to magnify. So it's always said, wherever your focus and energy is going, that is what is going to grow in your life. So I've had constant debates around it. But having said that, I know it's a constant thought in the minds of quite a few of my clients, and perhaps a couple of our attendees also here will be wondering on similar lines. So I thought it was important for us to, bring that in. So this was a fantastic discussion. Excellent insight. Thanks, Alexandra, James, and Jessica. I think Kumar has raised his hand and he wants to say something. Could we allow him? Can we ask him?
Of course, everyone can speak, of course.
Please jump in. Kumar, you can.
I have a question for all three of you. I mean, take it as you want it. I mean, I read somewhere, optimism is the best bet for most people because the world tends to get better for most people most of the time. Yet, pessimism holds a special place in all our heart. It's a seductive mistress. Pessimism isn't just more common than optimism, it also sounds smarter. It's intellectually captivating, and it's paid more attention than optimism, which is often viewed as being oblivious of risk. So, I mean, one, I would like to have your views on this. And two, how do we train ourselves to get away, to put this or to resist this seduction of pessimism?
Excellent question. Excellent point, Dr. Kumar. Thank you. So who'd like to take that question?
Can I say something that I also wanted to add to your question, Shika, because I think it's very much related to what Kumar just told us.
Sure.
One thing is optimism and something else is thoughtlessness. I am sorry. You know, when somebody is la, 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 in la, la land, that's thoughtlessness. That has nothing to do with optimism. As we said before, and we just proved it with the example, a real optimist is the person who thinks, plans, and executes. So they're not thoughtless at all. And regarding pessimism and that perspective and that image that it has in many parts of the world, it is true that we unfortunately are taught to be pessimistic. And that's what's valued in societies. And this fits in perfectly well with what James was explaining today in his presentation. When you're a child, you're born an optimist. All children are born optimists. If you recall your children or the children of your friends, I'm sure you will realize that no child is born a pessimist. Every child wakes up in the morning until the age of 5, more or less, expecting the best of life, expecting fantastic activities, fantastic surprises, and with energy, stamina, and ready to live. Unless there is big trauma or a horrible experience before in their lives, most children are optimistic for quite a few years until here come the adults and start telling that child, get your head off the clouds, put your feet on the floor, start thinking, planning, and worrying. Because if you don't plan, you're stupid. If you don't worry, you're silly. If you don't really think and focus on what may happen in the future, you're not going to make it. And they start teaching us to lose that optimism that we're born with. They start cutting our wings and they put us down onto the ground. And many people lose their natural optimism and then they have to come to us to get it back. God, kind of silly, no? But then there's this culture in which pessimism and suffering and negativity has been enhanced and
glorified
for centuries.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Haven't we glorified stress and anxiety also to a great extent? I think as parents, we're constantly conditioning children to be worried. And today, when we hear them use terms like stress, we're taken aback and we're like, where did they get the vocabulary from? You know, it's us as parents who've been conditioning them unknowingly, training them to kind of get worried about life and be more competitive. So agree with that point. And I love the comment from Mona Lisa here. She says, we tend to go back to the conditioning of our development years to negative more than positive. How unfortunate. And it then tends to be blueprinted as a coping mechanism, eventually taking the entire balance away. So quite rightly said. And that's where we start seeking help. And we want to figure out how to go inward and find strength from the positives, like James said. So wonderful. Any other closing comments from the panel before I request Dr. Swati to share a summary with us? Yes, please.
I would like to add something, because that's exactly what I'm working a lot on with my clients. That they think the negative thinking is the realistic one, and they don't even have the idea that it is as possible, you know, the negative, what they fear, that the outcome would be the positive one. So, and I think that's where we have to get back, you know, that we don't want to protect us all the time, but we also look to the positive opportunities we have in life to balance it out, to unlearn.
Yes, correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's got to do with the growth mindset and survival mindset as well. I think quite a lot of us operate from the zone of survival, instinct. So those kind of thought processes, behaviors are dominating your life and your choices. And for the ones who operate from a growth mindset, optimism may come naturally to them. The ability to think through something more discreetly, more creatively, would also come naturally, therefore. So it has to do with beliefs and virtues and values for sure. I love the connection. I love the simplicity with which you kind of explained it to us, with illustrations, case studies, real examples. Thank you. Thank you. It was a wonderful, wonderful discussion. I think I would now request Dr. Swati to share a few words. And yes, Jessica, you have something?
I have something before we go, because we promised everybody that you could get a little reward just for being here with us today.
Oh,
and
yes.
Yeah. We wanted to share something with you. So do you want me to share it now, Shika?
Yes, you can. Absolutely. And then I'll request Dr. Swati to share her closing address too. Yeah.
Okay, then. Just for those of you who are here today, if you want to get a copy of our monthly magazine, Plus Humanology, this is a full color magazine about between 50 and 60 pages. It's published every month on the 15th of the month, and it includes articles in different languages published by different collaborators from all around the world on everything having to do with human beings and humanology. And you can only get it through subscription. And we are offering everybody here present today a full year subscription. If you send us an email to the email address you have on the screen, club@thehumanology.net, which, by the way, is our website. If you want to Google us and get to know a little bit more about Humanology, thehumanology.net. And then you will be receiving the next issue of our magazine on the 15th of next month. So if you want to learn more about Humanology, this is your opportunity. It is open to you and you can get it. So that's the little surprise and gift that we had for everyone.
Wonderful. Thank you. We so appreciate this, Jessica, because this subject has always intrigued me. And I'm sure quite a few of us here today would love to sign up for this. Thank you for that generous offer. Dr. Swati, I request you to share a closing address and quick key highlights of the learnings we've gone through today. And we have a little bit of music, so please stick around with us. We're going to have fun, the drive to thrive away. So please stick around. Yes, Dr. Swati.
Do you want to play the music before?
No, after you.
So good evening all. It was a pleasure, and I really didn't know how the time just flew off. And I'm so happy to meet Jessica, Alexandra, and James, and to understand humanology through them. And being a nurse, it always is a pleasure to understand humans, because we always connect internally with the patients. And COVID has brought us to get inside more than the outside part. And Indian philosophy, I mean, the Hindu culture has always been to understand the self or the soul first, because we believe that the whole universe is within us, not outside us. So I could, I was just, I was so happy because there were so many dots which I could connect today. And it was amazing. It was amazing because we always think alike, but when it comes from the experts, you feel, oh, wow. So even I was thinking that it's right. I was not wrong. So because most of the time, whenever we non-experts talk these things in our family, we are always, no, this is wrong. You think like this, but it is not like that. But when it comes from the experts, so I have a reference, Jessica was saying that. So I'm so happy that Jessica, you introduced us to humanology. And it is such an important topic, as James said, that it should be part of every curriculum in the school. And I work on gender issues and health issues. And I can relate how conditioning is so very important that we don't even realize that, we are pessimistic, or we don't even realize that we are our thinking is on a wrong track. Because as a human being, God didn't condition us. He just threw us and he told us you have to be happy. Because if a child is full, the child is happy only when the child feels hungry or wants to pee or poo, the child cries. Otherwise, the child is happy. So we are inborn happy people. But the society conditions us. That's what Jessica told, the way she described the four key elements about personal essence, the belief, how the beliefs shape our actions, and how we understand that we make our personal spheres, and how we completely change into a complete different personality, which we are not actually. And thus there is always a conflict between the two, and we don't even realize that. So she very, very beautifully brought us to the thing that just one thought can ruin our whole life. So it's so important to have right thoughts, to right people, to have right teachers, right parents, right society around us. So it was so very important, and she brought it so well to us. Thank you so much, Jessica, for introducing us to the new perspective of life. Thank you so much. Alexandra was superb, the way she took us to the optimism coaching. She gave us a few tips how we ourselves can relate to optimism coaching, and how one can understand from tree of life, how to understand that where that circle, where the problem is, and how to change your moods. And it is not so difficult if we believe that that is the reality, like that changing mood is possible. Because most of the time, me being from healthcare, suddenly if a patient is bad, or if my seniors scold me, suddenly I'm in a elated mood, I just become again in an anxiety mode, or in a mode that what is going to happen next, within fraction of seconds. But if I am tuned that this is not the way to react, changing mood is in my hand, then I think I will use all the tools what Alexandra mentioned, and I'll be more happy as a person standing next to the patient, and the patient will recover, then be unhappy seeing a terrified nurse or a doctor, I feel. So yes, that was very important, Alexandra. Thank you. And you just regained our confidence by taking us through that whole circle. Thank you so much. James, it was amazing to know how baking and entrepreneurship, and how you completely, gave your example to us by stating so well that, first of all, it's important for us to understand us. Okay. And once you believe in yourself, then I think the whole world will believe you. But if you don't believe in yourself, then I don't think anybody is going to believe you. So, and thank you so much for, pushing us to celebrate ourselves, pushing us to think that, when you made that exercise done, I didn't know that, I'm a good mother. I can talk well. I'm a good entrepreneur. I can mobilize people through social media, because these things, and we are taught not to accept or appreciate if somebody's appreciating. Somewhere you go back, if somebody's saying, oh, you're looking beautiful today, and I will have a doubt, what is she saying, or what is he trying to say? How can I be beautiful? Come on, yes, if he or she feels beautiful, it is okay. Why can't I appreciate and take the compliment? It's
Yeah.
okay. So I think we have been taught or conditioned to not to, open ourselves faster, or take the compliments, or harp on our own best things. So I
Yeah.
think thank you so much, James, for pushing us to think that, we are good, and we can manage life very easily if we keep on harping on what we do good in a better way. So thank you, team, and thank you, audience, to bring their share of knowledge, and their way of handling things, and their way of thinking. Their perceptions help us all, and we work together as a team a lot. And the best gift is that 1 year subscription. Thank you so much, Jessica. You made my day. So much,
Thank you.
for taking us through this confluence, and bringing us these wonderful people. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Swati. Well summarized. I think you brought out every single element of all our experts here. And this has been a fantastic, well spent evening indeed. And I love the term celebrate yourself. Love the hug exercise for oxytocin. And this is one of my favorites of doing, self-love exercise early morning for yourself to kickstart the day well. And thank you once again. I think the music will do the needful to allow everyone to embrace themselves fully and celebrate themselves in the true sense, the drive to thrive way.
Thank you so very much. I want to thank
stay
everyone.
tuned, because next month we're also coming up with another interesting masterclass next month with Dr. Adil. It will be on anti-fragile leadership. Something which is doing the talks in the corporate world, something the society needs quite a bit now. And this will be a masterclass again. So stay tuned. Keep watching the Spaces, our social handles, for the updates on this master session coming in. Yes, Jessica, you can share your closing words.
I wanted to say thank you. I wanted to say thank you on behalf of the Institute of Humanology. And I want to thank the speakers that accompanied me today in this presentation. I really love Thrive. I've been with Thrive from day one when it all started a few years ago. And it's a pleasure and an honor to be here with you today again. Thank you, everyone. We wanted to finish today on an upbeat note because, of course, this is optimism coaching. And one of the tools that we use in optimism coaching is upbeat music, which should drive us into motion and movement.
Ready already?
It should lift our spirits. And that's what we want to leave you with today. So get ready to rock, please.
Feel free to turn your cameras on. Manas, you can take a couple of clicks.
Everyone.
Let's turn the camera on, everyone.
Let that energy flow. Okay, everybody, just a little upbeat note to get you moving, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to all our audiences. Thank you to all the participants, experts, Dr. Swati, and our dear experts and panelists.
Thank you, everybody. See you.
Have a wonderful evening.
Next time. Thank you. Bye.
Ciao. See you. Bye-bye.